Today on RhinoJoe Outdoors, we're going to go over my rod and reel arsenal that I use when I go kayak bass fishing. Coming up. Hey guys, so welcome to another episode of RhinoJoe Outdoors. And so as I discussed earlier, today's video is going to be all about my rod and reel arsenal that I use when I'm going out kayak bass fishing. So basically in front of me, I have all the rods and reels that I use whenever I go kayak bass fishing. So let's get started. So my first one is going to be this Johnny Morris Bass Pro Shops Carbon Light rod. A lot of people think, hey, it's a Bass Pro rod, bargain shop. No, these reels, or these rods actually are like a great quality rod. They come in at a good price point. I think like usually around like $110 for the rod, depending on which model you get. This one is actually the micro guide version. I'm not really partial to either one. I just tried this one out. But this one is my, this is a 7'6" heavy. This is my flipping stick. So as you can see, you got all the black and blue jig on this one. You know, bread and butter flipping. And then on it, I have a Bass Pro Shops Pro Qualifier. Like, these reels like have been reviewed a million times. Great quality reels. Have a good dual braking system and very good quality reel if you're looking to buy something that's not super crazy expensive. So that's that. So mainly what I use that for is throwing jigs, and then I can also use that for throwing like an Alabama rig, which I've only done a couple times. Next rod is going to be, I have a couple of these, but this one specifically is going to be a Abu Garcia Veritas 2.0. It's also a micro guide rod. This is a 7-foot, medium heavy, fast action. These for a medium heavy rod are actually more towards the heavy side. This one I mainly use with chatterbaits or like heavier spinnerbaits. That's what it's good for. It's also good as like a lighter jig rod for more accurate stuff, like if you're casting around like a dock or something where you need like a shorter rod. On it, I actually have this. I happened to get this on clearance. I saw it, figured I'd give it a try. This is a Bass Pro Shops Formula bait cast reel. It does have a dual braking system in it also, but you know, so far like I've not had any issues with it. It's pretty light, but nothing to really write home about. Kind of your run-of-the-mill reel. Next is going to be my favorite, probably slow presentation rod. This is actually one I custom built from an MHX high modulus blank. It was the 7'3" medium heavy high modulus rod. On it I have a Cast King Stealth. So it also has a dual braking system. It's a little bit different than what these ones are, but I can get in that in another video. But ultimately, like, this is a great reel. It's really light. I've not had any issues with any of these Cast King reels. Like, I know some other people have reviewed them and said they don't last. Like, I also don't fish 4 and 5 times a week, so I don't use them that heavily. But I mean, I've had consistent use out of these for probably like a year and a half, 2 years, and I mean, they've held up great for me. But this one primarily, I use it for, I'll use it sometimes for jigs, but usually like this is like my soft plastics rod. So on here right now I have a Pit Boss with I think it's like a 3/16 ounce weight, but I use braid on it. I tie that to a fluoro leader. You'll notice also with my jig rod, it was the same setup. I forgot on the Veritas rod, it's actually got a copolymer line on it. The next one is going to be another Veritas combo, but the difference about this one, it's the same exact rod, 7 foot, medium heavy, but it has a Cast King Assassin on it. These, you'll see, I have another one of these. These are by far my favorite Cast King reel. Their dual braking system is more in line with what's on the Bass Pro Shops version. Has a good magnetic cast control, good centrifugal brakes. It's light, it's 11 bearings, it's a great reel. I have this one with some, I'm pretty sure this is Cast King fluorocarbon on here, and I've got currently a swim bait on here, but it's kind of like the other one. I'll also use this for like spinner baits, light jigs, stuff like that. So it's a good kind of like all around meat and taters rod is what I'd call it. Next one is going to be another Bass Pro Shops Johnny Morris Carbon Light. This is actually a 7 foot medium action, or medium power fast action, and I've got a big jerk bait on this. I usually use this mainly for just jerk baits and spinner baits. That's it. I'll also use this for top water also. So it actually has a copolymer line on it. I will switch it over to fluoro. I think right now on this is actually fluorocarbon because it's set up for jerk baits right now. But if I switch to use it mainly for top water, which I usually do in the summertime, I will switch it over to copoly. But I've actually been using this medium heavy rod just to get by. Next rod is going to be this. I kind of got this out of necessity, basically. I wanted to throw the whopper plopper, and I didn't have a good rod to do it with. So I bought this rod specifically for this. It's a Berkeley Lightning Shock rod. It's the 7 foot medium heavy casting version, and I've got a Cast King Royale Legend on here. I've not had any. I've been throwing these big old whopper ploppers with this thing, and I've not had any issues with it. So it's got, I think, a 30-pound braid on it. I've not had any issues with it. Like with something like a whopper plopper, you don't need crazy sensitivity, but I've heard good things about these rods. I actually went fishing one time with a guy who this was all he used. It's pretty crazy. But Cast King reel, it's a 11 plus 1 ball bearing. It's let's see here, it's a 7.0 gear ratio. It works really well for the whopper plopper. Next one is going to be my crank and stick. This is actually this is my deep diver rod. So this is 710. Yeah, 710. It's a mag heavy, fast action, but this is I really like the crank and sticks by Bass Pro. Very good quality cranking rod, reasonable price, usually around I think $80, depending on, if you get it on sale it can be a little bit cheaper, but you'll see basically all my cranking rods are different versions of this. So it's kind of funny because I've bought them at different periods. On this one is a Shimano Sitica. It's a 5.5 to 1 gear ratio. Man, this thing is smooth. That's one thing I have noticed about this Shimano is that it is when you reel it, it's really smooth. It's like butter. but I use this for my deep diver. So on here you have a 6XD. That's basically what I use that for. So I don't always take this one out with me. Like there are certain types of year, like the dead of winter, I won't take this out with me. Middle of summer, I'll take it out. But if I don't really think I'm going to be seeing a deep crankbait bite, I don't take this rod. Next rod is going to be this crank and stick. So this is what I call an oops rod. By oops means that I broke the tip off. So I actually broke about 4 inches off the tip of this rod. I actually caught my personal best smallmouth with this rod. Outstanding. This is my first one. This is my first crank and stick I ever bought. You can tell by the handle it's seen some mileage. But excuse me, I got allergies. But on here, I used to have a one of the pro qualifiers on here, but I switched to this White Max, and I really like it. It's basically like the cranking version for the Cast King reels. I think it's like a 5.3 to 1. So what I use this for now, I bought a new tip and epoxied it on, but I use this for KVD 2.5s, like the larger square bills, and then these mid-depth divers, crankbaits. This is a series 4, I think. Yeah, it's a series 4. So this is great for doing those. Next is going to be one of the newer additions. This is actually the newest model of the crank and stick. You can tell, like I will say one thing, they lightened this up a lot. This thing is a lot lighter than these older versions. It's also got a different look to it. It's like a gray, more like a sleek, more modern look with the red accents. But on here I have another Cast King Assassin. So like I said before, it's a 6.3 to 1. I like that faster gear ratio, especially like with these small crankbaits on a kayak. You don't really have to work so hard. This is like one of my workhorse rods. And this is what I caught a bunch of fish the other day on. So it's excellent rod. On here I do have copolymer. I have experimented with different line types. I would say that I prefer fluorocarbon, but I think the problem that I encountered with fluorocarbon was in the wintertime it can get really brittle. So I've been trying to use a copoly to just try it out. I'm not really sure how I feel about it yet. So the last 2 rods here are going to be my spinning rods. So I'll start with this one. This is actually a medium light. It's a 6'9" medium light. It's the older model of the carbon light before they changed to the white version. I used to have some of the bait cast rods in this version, but they actually broke. But these ones have been my go-tos. This one is usually what I use for very light finesse. Like this has a drop shot on it right now, but I also use it for throwing really light jigs, Ned rigs, stuff like that. I'll also use it for throwing a weightless Cinco around, just depending on what I have tied on. But it's got this Cast King Sharky 2 on it. It's a 2000 series. I think it's a perfect size for this. And then braided line to a fluorocarbon leader. It's what I do with both of my spinning rods. So this one is my other carbon light. Same thing, though. This is actually the older of the 2, and this one is a medium fast action, medium power fast action. This one, I've got a little Fat Albert grub with a jig head on here, but I'll use this also for like throwing tubes and stuff like that. And I have a Mitchell spinning reel on here. Not crazy about this thing. I bought it when I first got it. I've really, the reason why I actually had two matching ones of these, and the one on the other one actually broke. So I need to probably replace this one soon. It's not very smooth, and it kind of impacts my fishing a little bit. But basically that's it, guys. So I don't take all these rods out, but these are the bread and butter, like what I use when I'm kayak bass fishing. So first of all, I'd like to say thanks for watching this video, and I ask you, if you like this video or you like my previous videos, please click on the subscribe button. Check out my other videos, and I'll have more coming to you soon. Hopefully this helped you learn a little bit about different options. I know a lot of people prefer to keep it really simple when it comes to kayak fishing. If I'm going out on the creek for a day, I'll probably only take my cranking stick, my two spinning rods, and maybe one of probably this MHX rod is what I usually take out. But it all depends. But if I'm going out on a lake and I'm not really sure what the bite's going to be, I can take all these out with the setup that I have on my current kayak. It's a lot of rods, but it keeps you from retying a whole bunch, which is, to me, retying is wasted time. If you want to switch presentations, it's nice to have the rod turn around, switch it out, throw it out, give it a try. Because what I noticed about myself is before I had all these rods, I didn't really want to change presentations as much. So it's a lot easier to try different presentations whenever you have all these different setups. So if you're interested in more stuff like this, please comment in the comments. Let me know what you fish, or let me know what you take out when you're kayak bass fishing. But appreciate y'all, and I will see y'all next time.